Thanks for checking out another episode of Watch Stuff with us. I'm JD, and we are going to be breaking down my immediate reaction to episode 1 of season 2 of The Last of Us. Please hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below. Also, hit the notification bell so you can be notified each and every time we go live in 2025. And we do live stream watch parties 30 minutes before the episode airs on HBO Max, and then we watch the episode together and hang out. So I would love to invite you and have you along for the ride. But let's get this review going. We start out with one Miss Abby, probably the most controversial character in the entire series. And she is hell bent on revenge for Joel taking out a bunch of the Fireflies. You can see their graves here. Um, yeah, and it seems as though she is the others are upset about it still, and the others feel like there needs to be justice, but she is beyond justice. She wants to take Joel out. So she's having one of the other people try to take, almost like talk her down a little bit. Like, I won't say talk her down, but try to make her be a little bit more rational, and like she was not having it one bit. And yeah, basically says she's not going to stop until she's able to kill Joel. So yeah, I am really expecting that to go down. um I don't know exactly how things are going to play out in the show, but I know that this is a major plot point in the second game, and I can't wait to see how it develops on this. Um, then moving forward, had the title sequence, had Ellie here sparring with one of her people who is sort of like training her, which is cool. You kind of wondered what was going on in the beginning because they were going at it, like they were fighting hardcore. So um, yeah, just shows that Ellie has upped her strength. She sort of seems as though she has a chip on her shoulder at this point. Like she feels like she needs to prove it to everybody that she's tough. And she was obviously training here. And you have the young man. Well, before we get to that point, um, we have the town of Jefferson, I believe, or Jackson. I'm sorry. That is way bigger than what it was at the end of season 1. So there, if you haven't noticed, there's also been a 5-year time gap between the events of the end of season 1 to right now. So Jackson has turned into a pretty sprawling town. I would have to imagine that there are probably at least a few thousand people who live there at this point, which that has to be rough to try to take care of that many people and try to keep an area that large secure. And that's going to eventually turn into an issue. We have Joel here tinkering a little bit. I can't remember exactly what this young lady's name is, but she ends up being a focal point of this episode. Little bit of a troublemaker, but the one thing that happens in this is that they have a conversation, and basically you pick up on that her or that Ellie and Joel are not on good terms. Um, they don't really go into breaking down exactly why they aren't on good terms, but we all know. And it seems as though Joel is trying his best to act like it isn't affecting him, but it definitely is. It definitely is. Um, it seems like he isolates himself a lot. Um, and then we have Ellie here doing a little bit of target practice. And basically who I would call, I mean, this is Joel's brother, but you'd almost have to call him like Ellie's uncle at this point. But um it seems as though everybody's trying to look out for her, and she doesn't want that. And she wants to just sort of do her own thing and prove her own worth. So she basically convinces him to allow her and the team to go out on a patrol tonight, even though she was supposed to be on the fence, like, just on the gate watching over the city and the town. but she wanted to take a more active role, and I think his name is Malcolm, and he allows her to do that. She kind of persuades him to do that. As we fast forward a little bit more through the episode, what's going on with my internet? But yeah, as we move further into the episode, we had the scene with Joel speaking with his therapist, who is played by Catherine O'Hara. And obviously, Joel is at a point where he feels as though, um, well, as his therapist picks up that he has a lot of guilt in him and that he just needs to say what's wrong and needs to explain what's going on. So basically, her husband, Joel, had to kill her husband. And I believe her husband was named Edgar. And I believe there's going to be an Edgar centric episode at some point later on in the season. But we learned that Joel had to kill him. And basically she was able to confess that she hates Joel, even though she knows that it needed to happen. She hates him, and she was willing to, be vulnerable and explain this and put this, out there. And she asked for Joel to do the same thing, and he's still, closed. He doesn't want to share. He doesn't want to discuss. And he eventually says that he hurt Ellie, and he did not get into that he lied to her. She kind of assumed that it was something physical, but that's definitely not it. And came out and said that he didn't exactly come out and say that he lied to her, but he alluded that he did, that he did hurt her. So I think that's going to be a big part of his healing at some point, is that he's going to have to come clean to Ellie about everything that happened, so that he can even begin to forgive himself for lying to her to begin with. Um, so yeah, this is just more of their conversation. And then we have Ellie and her friend about to go out on a excursion as they patrol the town, which is cool. But I mean, like I said, this young lady she's a great character in the game. I can't think of her name, but she's a great character in the game. But she's not a very good influence for Ellie, because Ellie feels as though she almost has to, or at least the way I interpret it is that she has to almost keep up with her. Um, and that they kind of like just aren't good together. They kind of push each other to do things that they shouldn't do, that are definitely dangerous. Um, and yeah, that, I mean, it's I don't think that it's necessarily something that is a bad character trait, but it is something that will ratchet up the danger for any time that they're together. It's like, they're two sticks of dynamite. When you get them together, something explosive happens. So yeah, we have them here just telling them to be safe. They're heading out on the patrol. They come across a pile of 6 people who have perished, and a grizzly bear that it looked like they attacked at some point. And her name is Dina, yeah. That they attacked at some point and were able to take out the grizzly bear, but they also perished at the same time. So what's interesting about them is that the infected were able to take on this grizzly bear, where you would imagine that even if you did have 4 or 5 or 6 infected, that they wouldn't be bright enough or smart enough to strategize to take on this grizzly bear and eventually take it out. So that's going to lead to what we discover later on in the show, or in this episode. So yeah, they saw some blood on the trail, and they ended up walking down the trail and finding this scene here. So Dina and Ellie are obviously, like I said, not a good pair together, as far as making calm and rational decisions. And yeah, they decided to go investigate, and which is a bad idea. They, as patrol people, they are supposed to check out the scene. If there's anything going on, just report it back to their group, And then from there, the group would be able to send like an actual team of people to take out whatever group of infected are there. So they end up going into this building, and they encounter a clicker, standard clicker, not too smart. And they take out the clicker, and Ellie falls through the floor. Dina's still on the top level of the floor. And I'll fast forward a little bit through this. And basically, they encounter what I think the game called a stalker. So basically, it's like a level of infected that's of higher intelligence. And this one sort of like is able to hide in the shadows. It baited Ellie to continue to try to find where it was at, made her turn her back, and then it jumped on her. So Ellie was eventually able to take it out, but she got bit. Um, and it was a new occurrence. So they got back here to their group for a debriefing, and basically, um, Ellie explains that, you know, they ran into a new type of infected, and because they have that new type of infected, that they are going to have to do something about it. So I think this is the first one that anybody has run into that seemed to show any sort of higher level of consciousness, and that definitely should make the group nervous. And for anybody who's played the game, we all know that stalkers are very difficult to deal with in the game. um Dina co-signed her, of course. We had Ellie, who was healing up her wound and getting stitches, I guess because people do not know that she um is unable to be infected and that she's immune. So I guess she still wants to kind of keep that a secret. um Joel and Ellie talking here, still not on very good terms. They go to a dance where Dina is um the center of the party. Everybody's watching her. She's, you know, going around living fancy free, enjoying herself. And eventually she and Ellie end up dancing in the middle of the dance floor, and eventually kiss, which is, you know, that's definitely part of the game too, that they had something going on. But because of that, you had a another person um who was at the event, took offense to them sort of making out in the middle of the thing and saying that, you know, hey, this is a family event, like you guys need to get it together. I don't know if he was mad because it was two women, or if he was just against them, you know, making out like that. Well, I kind of get it. I kind of get it. But then after he was sort of looking that way, Joel runs up and knocks the dude out, just like pushes him down, knocks him to the ground. And um, you know, Ellie is upset by this because she feels as though Joel is constantly trying to protect her. It's like the common sort of theme that you have in, you know, father daughter and like parental guidance over their children, is that the children feel like they should be able to do what they want, that they don't need anyone's help, that they are fine without you know, the parent's protection, but you have the parent who is there and wants to protect the child. So I get where Joel's coming from, totally do. But I feel that Ellie has some trust issues with him now, and also she doesn't want to be coddled. So she wants to be her own woman, and I get that. You have to there's a fine line between being protective of your child and then being overprotected. I mean, I think that Joel is a little bit overprotective, but if I was in his position, I would be the exact same way. There's no reason to you would want to do your best to protect your child. Um so yeah, pretty much everybody saw that. They got to the new year, everybody's enjoying, and then you come up to this pipe that they had found. And I guess it was a water pipe. I don't know if it was an old one. I'm guessing it was just some sort of old water pipe. But there were sparks flying next to the pipe, and you could see that there was some of the fungus growing inside of that pipe. So that's just telling us that that fungus is growing closer and closer to their town. And then we close the episode with a group of people walking up on the town, and it turns out, if I can get the last little screen, Turns out it's none other than one Miss Abby. And I can't isolate the screenshot. But oh well. But yeah, ends up being Abby. She shows up. Obviously, like I said, this is 5 years later. She has not given up on her quest to find Joel, and she's getting closer to finding him. So yeah, I cannot wait to see how this actually turns out. But yeah, that is a quick instant reaction recap review breakdown of episode 1 of season 2 of The Last of Us. If you enjoyed watching this, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, drop a comment below. Let me know what you thought of the episode. Also, hit that notification bell so that you can be notified each and every time we go live in 2025. And we will be back next week for another live stream watch party starting at 7:30 p.m. Central Time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then we'll hang around for the actual episode. And then after the episode airs, we will do another breakdown. And when the episode's on, we'll have a live stream watch party and we'll talk and discuss the episode as it takes place. There are not very many people doing this on YouTube for this show, so I am one of the few. And if you have found this, man, you are in luck for some amazing content. So yeah, I really appreciate you for checking this out. My name is JD, like I said, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.